In 1837, William IV died, leaving his niece Victoria queen. Victoria reigned for 63 years, up until 1901, just beating the finish line of the 19th century. In 1861, her husband Albert died. 40 years later, she died. Then in 1902, her son, the playboy Edward VII, was crowned Edward VII. He reigned until 1910, and in 1863 he married Alexandra of Denmark. However, she would outlive him by 15 years, dying in 1925. Edward died in 1910. He died on May 6, 1910. A day later, Queen Alexandra came in and placed a rose on his bed. Then, in 1911, George V was crowned king. A lot of stuff went off in George V's life. In 1893, he married Mary of Teck, a relative who had been betrothed to his brother Clarence, who lived from 1864 to 1892. They both had a deep interest in their naval careers. However, George had to abandon his in 1892. Yes, so he married Mary of Teck, and his grandmother died in 1901. Also, in his grandmother's reign, he had 2 children. And his children, the future King Edward VIII, and the future King George VI. Then, so in 1901, Victoria died, leaving him heir to the throne. In fact, he was expected to be heir way back in 1882. Oh, tough luck for Edward. Then George became the Prince of Wales, and then in 1912, a big blow to his reign, the Titanic sank. Then in 1913, a suffragette jumped under the king's own horse. Then in 1914, World War broke out. And one thing that deeply affected George V's health was when, in 1915, he was on a horse ride and fell off and broke his pelvis. Charming. Then in 1916, he did more visits. Then in 1917, the Russian Revolution happened, meaning his cousin, the Tsar of Russia, was kicked out and shot by the Bolsheviks, which had the leader called Vladimir Lenin. In fact, George V was terrified of working with a man labelled a tyrant. And then in 1918, war ended. And that is all the main events of George V's life. Another big event for the empire. Another big event for the empire was the Silver Jubilee of 1935, which him and Queen Mary celebrated 25 years on the throne. But less than 7 months later, George V died in Sandringham House at 11:45 in 1936. 11:45, January the 20th. In the presence of Queen Mary and his 2 sons, and the Archbishop of Canterbury, Edward VIII. Little much is remembered about Edward VIII, but however, in 1936, after his father died, he was forced to abdicate the throne. he abdicated to marry Wallis, and he died in 1972, the ripe old age of 77. And that lived from the reign of Victoria to our Queen now, George VI. Very much is known about George VI as being the reluctant king. In 1937, he was crowned king after his brother's abdication, which shocked the empire. Then in 1939, war broke out. The king kept his cool and strode through the war. In 1945, we eventually ruled. Then, in 1947, on the Queen's 21st birthday, she made a promise. She said, "I declare before you all that whether my whole life, whether it be long or short, will be devoted to your service and the service of our empire which we all belong to." George VI died in 1952 after a huge battle against death. It was clearly in late 1951. Elizabeth II. Loads is known about Elizabeth II. She ascended the throne in 1953, and everyone in the empire was issued with a 1953 crown. I've got two of them actually. In 1965, she went to Derby to celebrate the 750 years of Magna Carta. Then, skipping a few more years, in 1972, she witnessed her uncle dying. She wasn't there to see it. Then, skipping a few more years, she saw Wallis Simpson dying. She didn't see her. Wallis Simpson died, and she heard all about it. And our Queen now is still one of the most popular monarchs that have ever ruled England, or even the world. She is the longest reigning monarch, beating Victoria. Thank you for watching this video on the complicatedness of the royal family, and I see you guys next time. Bye.